What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Bruce Springsteen's live catalog with release number 2, In Concert, MTV Plugged. Not Unplugged. If you have the album on the corner where it says Unplugged, the Un is crossed out because apparently Bruce does not respect the Unplugged tradition, something I will address briefly in a little while. This came out in 93. It was from a set recorded in 92, part of the MTV series of Unplugged concerts, which I don't believe they do anymore, which produced a number of really good albums over the years. I'm going to review this. I'm going to rank it among the others I've already done, which so far is just one, which is why this is number 2. And then we'll go on through the series. But yeah, this is a single CD release of a performance right after he released Lucky Town and Human Touch. So it is the bulk of the material, 2/3 of the material on here are from those 2 albums. And then we have 3 sort of deep cuts, and then 1 song from a movie he did, the Light of Day, the one with Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox. He does a really good version of that, might be the highlight of the release. But like I said before, it's called Plugged because he only does 1 truly acoustic number. It is the opening Red-Headed Woman, a fiery little number about a red-headed woman. It's about 3 minutes long as soon as he's done with it. And it's a good song, good energy, nice bounce, a little aggressive, but it's like we're starting off strong. But then as soon as he's done, he's like, let's rock it. And we go full electric, which personally is disappointing because 1, it is a whole bunch of material from the 2 least favorite albums he ever did. The 2 albums I think are easily his least interesting albums. And so it would have been interesting had he sort of challenged himself to do some like acoustic rearrangements and do something differently. But instead we get essentially nothing more than straightforward live versions of a bunch of songs off Human Touch and Lucky Town. And there's a little more energy in some of them. Maybe a little more bite in 1 or 2 of them. But for the most part, those 2 albums, I think there's maybe 3, 4 songs that I think would be like, if I were to put together a Bruce Springsteen playlist and I had to represent every album, there's maybe, I think Lucky Town has 2 songs that are pretty good. Human Touch, maybe 1, maybe 2 that are really like standoutish. None of those are on this release. This is not the list I would have curated from these albums, though the title tracks of each are on here. And I mean, I kind of understand why Bruce did it, but not what I would have gone with, especially if you're going to go full electric. And those songs have a darker energy, the ones that I would pick. But I have a video about those if you want to know what those songs are. But I don't know, what are they? It's like, Souls of the Departed off Lucky Town would have been fantastic. The Big Muddy would have been fantastic. Gloria's Eyes would have been awesome. Those aren't on here. And there are, like I said, 3 songs, old cuts, 70s cuts, and I would say only 2 of them work. One of them, I would say only 1 of them works. 2 of them just don't work. There is something about this performance that just seems like Bruce isn't connecting with the older material in the same way. Like it's more like he's just like it's like a cover song almost, like he's not connecting with like the heart and soul of why he wrote those lyrics in the first place. So they're missing that sort of despairing edge that Bruce, there's a version, like one of the songs on here, Atlantic City. Like, okay, the 3 songs that he plays on here that are old cuts are Atlantic City, Darkness in the Edge of Town, and Thunder Road. And 2 of those are in my top 5 all-time Bruce Springsteen songs. Thunder Road might be my all-time favorite, and then Atlantic City is top 5. I just think those are stellar, just absolute perfect creations. Darkness is probably a top 15. And the only one that I think works is Darkness. It's still not as intense as other versions. It's definitely not as intense as the studio version, but I think it fares better than the other 2. Atlantic City it lacks that desperation that the original has. It just lacks that sort of like just trying to figure life out and on the edge. And like, even if I have to do things I probably shouldn't do, I'm going to do them because that's what life is. That's the hand I've been dealt. And it just becomes almost this performance of just this, like, I don't know, like we're just doing it to do it. Great song choice. Absolutely amazing. But like there's a version on Live in Dublin, which is like what, 14, 15 years after this, which is from the sort of Pete Seeger tour, you know, a lot of acoustic folky energy. That version's better. There's more desperation in that version, and there's more urgency in that version, and the lyrics connect, you know, with like the Pete Seeger folk energy. And then the version of Thunder Road, I just feel like Bruce is not connecting with these lyrics at all on the Thunder Road. It's a sparser version. We don't get the big band drop. We don't get the rousing climax at the end, which is fine. My favorite version of Thunder Road is that live 75, 85 one, which is piano, harmonica, and voice. It is absolutely perfect. And just this Thunder Road, it just doesn't work. It's like, I don't know. I just don't feel like he's connecting with the lyrics. Great song choices, but I don't know, something's lacking. And so it's interesting that the highlights of this become stuff off Human Touch and Lucky Town. The other thing is, this is not the E Street Band. I think Roy is the only member of E Street Band that's in the band. So there is, you're missing that E Street, whatever it is they bring to Bruce's music. That's lacking, which is fine. He's allowed to have other band. He's allowed to experiment. But being that he's pulling material from his weakest two albums, they're not being able to deliver on the old classic cuts. Oh, and then the other song, I'll go through the set list, that's also not from those two albums, is Light of Day, which is Michael J. Fox sings it in the movie. I think he's at like a house party, right? Or it seems like this little private event, and he does it. It's pretty much just an extended version of that, a lot more guitar, a lot more aggressive, great, really aggressive guitar opening segment before those drums come in, which are the same drums used in the movie. So it's a really, really good performance of that. Bruce does do this part in the middle of it where he goes off and does this sort of hype man thing and like riles up the crowd. Doesn't really work. Not really the storytelling, the let's interact with the crowd energy that Bruce is good at. I think it's a little like, okay, forced, but it's still, at least he's trying and there's energy there. But the sequence, what we get is Redheaded Woman, the only truly unplugged thing. And then we go, Let's Rock It. Better Days, definitely more energy in this than on the studio version, but it's still pretty much the exact same song as the studio version. Then we get the Atlantic City. Another thing that bothers me, the complete lack of crowd response when he starts singing Atlantic City. It's like, I mean, they respond, but to me, that would be like, you're yelling at the top of your lungs if he's playing Atlantic City, but it's a more like, ooh, yeah, Atlantic City. I'm like, what? No, you should be screaming for a lot longer than that. It just doesn't work. And there's a big band energy to this, not like a big band with horns and stuff, but like a bigger sound that, I don't know, it doesn't work in this instance, at least to my ears. Darkness on the Edge of Town fares better than Atlantic City. It's a great song choice, great to hear. It's also missing a little bit of the darkness that is there on the Edge of Town. Then we get Man's Job, which is just a song I don't like. The lyrics are kind of rough on this one. I'm just like, Man's Job, he just plays it so straight. I said this on the other video, I would love to hear Prince do a song called Man's Job, in which he has to use the line, loving you is a man's job, because I would love to hear like Prince's take on that concept. I don't think Bruce, he just delivers this sort of, the man's gotta love you type thing. I don't know, kind of weird. Human Touch is a little more oomph, but it's still pretty much the same song. Lucky Town is one of the songs that I think fares much better than the studio version. It's got a little more bite to that guitar line. I think it stands out in this set among all the new tracks. The guitar playing presence is fantastic. And there is a really, really, really good long closing solo that is absolutely amazing. Lucky Town, like if he's going to go full electric and he's going to say, let's rock it, the set list should have been Redheaded Woman, Let's Rock It. They drop into Lucky Town, because then Better Days is whatever. Atlantic City is disappointing. Darkness, good song choice. Man's Job, Human Touch, It's not until what? Song 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Lucky Town, where we're like getting the full Let's Rock It experience. That should have been the second song. I think it completely changes the flow of the album, the flow of the set. Then the next song is I Wish I Were Blind, which is probably the highlight of Human Touch, is the closing solo on I Wish I Were Blind. So to have these two songs back to back, which have these really awesome closing solos, Not good planning on his part. Like you way down the middle of the set with these awesome closing solos when you could have had a more like fluid set or a little more dynamic set by putting one of them as the second song. Just my thoughts. But I Wish I Were Blind is one of those sort of like my hometown-esque type 80s ballads and 90s ballads that Bruce would like, become his forte. We then get the Thunder Road, which I just think doesn't connect. We get Light of Day, which is an absolute highlight, absolute great guitar energy. There's this breakdown in the middle where just the guitar is screaming. I think it's two guitars are screaming. Then they go back in the song and Bruce does his like little hype man craziness thing that doesn't really work, but it's kind of fun. And then we close out with If I Should Fall Behind, another quiet ballad with a My Hometown vibe. We get Living Proof, which is just sort of a nice steady rocker. Got some good energy. Kind of has a almost kind of big end of the show type feel, but not like a big blow it out, but just like a big, just ride the same groove for a little while. We're getting near the end type vibe. And then we close out with My Beautiful Reward, which has a nice chill opening, and then it goes into this sort of adult mellow pop breeziness that's pleasant, not in any way offensive, but it's just it's just an release. I mean, if you really like Human Touch and Lucky Town, I think you're going to find the energy of some of these songs interesting. The fact that they're mixed in with other things, I think that's always interesting in a live show. But I mean, the things I was really looking forward to, Atlantic City, Darkness, Thunder Road, I just don't think they deliver. There's just, Bruce doesn't feel connected to those lyrics in ways he does both before this in a live setting and after this in a live setting. It's just, something's off, people. Maybe it's the studio setting, like it's not a real live setting, right? There's TV cameras, they're filming it, the artificiality of the whole thing. Maybe Bruce is just in a different mindset, but there's something off about it, I would say. And then to have the highlights stuff from your weakest album and not even your best stuff off your weakest albums. I don't know. It's not a rough listen. I mean, Bruce is still a great live performer, but I can't say there's anything on here like, man, if someone like talks about how great Bruce Springsteen is live, right? His reputation of being this live performer, and then they listen to this, they'll be like, yeah, well, guess you just got to be there, right? That would, I think, be the sentiment that you would walk away with. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Bruce Springsteen in concert, MTV Plugged. Where would I rank it? Clearly number 2. Live 1975 to 85 is one of the greatest things in the history of the world, I would argue. So it's going to be hard to beat that, but we'll see. We'll see if we do at any point. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Leave me your thoughts on this album, on Bruce Springsteen, on live music, blah, 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 blah. You know how this stuff works. That's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.